We interrupt the regularly scheduled mass programming feeds. Watchmen bring this announcement to the earth. A famine of the word of Yahuwah is found on the earth. Plagues are poured out in judgment. Important words of the Creator Yahuwah have been dismissed. Without the word, people are not living abundantly. My people perish for lack of knowledge. There is a city whose builder is Yahuwah Aloha. There is healing for the nations. A light unto the Gentiles, restore all truth. Join us as we share from the word of Yahuwah.
So this is what my table is about. Columbus. I stumbled across some information the other day, which I thought was really interesting. You probably are aware of it, but I wasn't. So I wanted to share it. So we know about Columbus, about him discovering the New World and also being responsible for rescuing the Sephardic Jews from Spain and bringing them to the New World at the time of the Spanish Inquisition. This map shows a number of voyages. I didn't realise that he'd actually come to Jamaica as well as other Caribbean islands. And there's a very interesting story. This shows his various voyages. Apparently he came to the Caribbean 4 times. The 4th time was his last time, and it was beset with some problems, as we'll go into in a bit. This is a book by Edward Kritzler. I've not read it, but in doing some research on Google, I've come across some information that shows there were Jewish pirates of the Caribbean. How a generation of swashbuckling Jews carved out an empire in the New World in their quest for treasure, religious freedom, and revenge. I knew there were pirates of the Caribbean, but I didn't know they were only Jewish pirates of the Caribbean. And what they would do would be obviously to hijack the Spanish galleons because their people had been persecuted in Spain and take all the gold. I didn't have time to work out what this is. I know this is Yehuda. So please someone tell me what these 2 words say.
We can look it up.
I worked out that last one. The bet is going to be a prefix. And bet as a prefix is on, in, or with, right? And then you've got Caribbean.
Oh, and that's very... Because I couldn't find Jamaica. So again, look at what we have here. Jewish pirates of the Caribbean, speaker Ton Thielen, Sephardic World Meeting, Sunday, 16th of January, 2022. Who knew these things go on? But it was this that interested me because they're still having meetings about it this year.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And this is a gravestone from either Kingston or Spanish Town, where there is a couple of Jewish cemeteries. And there we have again Sephardic World Meeting, Sunday, 12th of December, 2021. This one, Jewish cemeteries in Jamaica. And this is some of the Jewish cemeteries. I must get around and start investigating a few things because I know about Port Royal. And we got Runaway Bay and St. Anne's Bay. So when Columbus came to Jamaica, our native people were the Arawak Indians, which weren't just in Jamaica, they were around the Caribbean islands. Now we get on to the story. In 1504, which was the last voyage that Columbus made to the Caribbean, they were beset with problems, as I said, some of the ships. They used to get something called worms in the ships. They weren't actually worms. They were like a shellfish that would burrow into the wood and make the wood weak, and it would break and crumble. And I think he had 4 ships, and 3 of them were beset by these worms. So he was stranded here in Jamaica. And for a time, the natives were feeding them, but they got fed up feeding them after many months. And while Columbus was waiting on another ship to come and rescue them, the natives, the Arawak Indians, as I say, got fed up giving them food. And Columbus knew that it was going to be not ending prettily. But they had things like almanacs and ways of being able to read the stars in the heavens. And he knew that there was going to be a blood moon, a lunar eclipse in a few days. So he told the natives that his gods were angry at their treatment of him, and they were going to provide a clear sign in the moon. And so once the eclipse started, the natives raced to give them food and begged for mercy. Like, no, please don't let your gods kill us. You know, we're sorry, here, have food. So they managed to survive until they were rescued. But I thought that was so interesting. So Columbus is my coat table. This is the access term, Columbus, and it shares the wa with sign here. And also we have blood moon going across there and Shamayim there sharing the Aleph. We have Spain, we have Indian. Like I say, I couldn't find Jamaica. I couldn't find sort of West Indies. The closest I could get was Westward here, Westward Indian, like I say there, islands. We have Discover here and Israel. So Discover Israel. I'm sure there is a lot more going on these horizontals. We've got Wormy, ship. We have Yehuda, sailor. Starvation. That's my name there. We've done Spain and Blood Moon. We have Yahuwah as a palindrome there, Israel again there, and alignment and lunar. I saw prophet was in there and I've highlighted it, but I think there's probably a lot more to this table. So I just wanted to share that with you because I thought that was so interesting.
Jan, I love how alignment and lunar are like so close together.
Yes. Yeah, just here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you think about it, that the sky could have been cloudy on that night when the eclipse happened, like as so often happens with us today. Obviously, you can see Yahuwah's hand in what happened at that time so that they would survive and they would get off of the island of Jamaica, be rescued. And I don't know if they then went on to land in America or if America came first. America's discovery came before, I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance to do a lot of research into this. And I was just so excited that something like this had happened and I didn't know that he'd been here. And I didn't know there were any Jewish Sephardic pirates of the Caribbean. I think that is wonderful.
I wonder if it was a blood moon and if he did know that it was going to be a blood moon.
Yes, he did, according to his almanac that he had, because that's what they used to use to guide their journey. They knew where they were going by the stars. There wasn't really anything else. They had all their astrolabes and almanac things. If you follow this star, you're going in that direction. If you follow this constellation, you're going in this direction. So he knew something that obviously the Indian, I bet that they'd never seen a blood moon, a lunar eclipse before. I don't know. You can imagine what it must have looked like for him saying what he said to them and then it actually happening, and he knew how long it would take to occur as well. I thought that was an interesting story.
So interesting.
Yes. I'm just going to show you the verses that are underneath. So this is the noon that's in the word ship coming up there. So underneath the noon it says, Yahuwah sent signs and wonders great and grievous upon Egypt, upon Pharaoh, and upon all his household before our eyes. So there was only one word left to go there.
Before our eyes. That's amazing. So that's what we mean by the Ramsel method. That's clearly in the subject of your search.
Yes. This is Job 21:20, and it's the yod that's in the word Indian in the pink, just here. And it says, let his eyes see his destruction and let him drink of the wrath of the Almighty. And the last one is the yod that's in Israel up here. And it says, and you shall say to Pharaoh, thus saith Yahuwah, Israel is my son, my firstborn. It's the Yod in Israel code, and it actually speaks about Israel underneath.
If you're enjoying this video, click like, subscribe, click the bell, and please share this video. Shalom. Let's get back to the video.
So I forgot to mention that the actual code is all across the Tanakh. Is Genesis 1:1 to 2 Chronicles 36:23 at a skip of 89,627.
That was a wonderful table, Jan. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All glory and honor to Yahuwah. Everything is recorded in his book, in his word.
Shemaiah, and that is the Aramaic for Shamayim.
I was looking for my favorite word, Masilla, but that wasn't in there. That would have been good, of the courses of the stars. But I couldn't find that. And I couldn't find, like I say, Jamaica, couldn't find Caribbean. But that's the closest I got, was Westward Indian Islands, which I thought, well, that's going to do, isn't it?
Right. And isn't Carib a shortened version of that? I found it. I found that Carib was.
I only just put that meme in, and I could see it said Yehuda, and it was to do with the headstone or gravestone here in Jamaica. So I knew I was on to the right thing, and I didn't have a chance. I was going to put it into keys, like reverse Hebrew spell it, and see what it came out with. But I thought, well, it'll be interesting if we all look at it together.
Yeah. So Karab, we could also look at Karab too, because that would be like the root letters. Karab, to come near, approach. It also means midst, interior, inward part, bowels, intestines. The Akkadian is kirbu, inward part, interior, and kirib, in. These related words show that the original meaning of kireb was midst, interior, and that the meaning inward part, bowel, intestines is secondary. However, according to several scholars, Hebrew kereb is related to Arabic kalb, which is kuf lamed bet, equals heart. And it says see kabel, kuf bet lamed, kuf lamed bet, kuf bet lamed. We talked about changing those letters around. Karab is battle and war, and the New Hebrew is match and game. These words probably meant originally hostile approach. And so going back to that concept of Kareb, nearness, vicinity, and then Kariba, which is Kufresh Yod Bet Hey, is approaching, coming near. See, they've used a Yod and a Hey there, kind of wild cards, approaching, coming near, from to come near, approach. Kufresh Yod Bet Hey, Kariba.
Resh Yod Bet Hey. Funny, we have a friend who has a bed and breakfast place called Kariba.
Very nice. Very nice. It's always nice to look at some of these words a little bit closer.
Yes.
How about Pleiades? I might have missed it. Did you say why you chose to look, or were you just led to look up Pleiades?
I was going through to see what was relating to the heavens, the Shamayim and the stars and the constellations, and I came across Pleiades, and I thought it might be important.
Was there a specific date to this eclipse that was mentioned?
It was 1504, but some
1504.
say 1503, maybe book there at 1503.
Very nice. I think it's interesting, that word alignment. I want to look at it real quick. Ta-wa-wa yod. It may or may not be in the clients, but sometimes they're not. Words aren't in here. So we've got ta-wa yod, alignment feature. Okay, so it is related. Let me see if there's a ta-wa-wa yod. Yep, it says marked, outlined, sketched, designed, marking, outlining, sketching, designing. So ta-wa yod would be the alignment, it looks like, alignment feature. But what you have with an alignment is you have a marking, an outline, a sketch, design. You have the pattern of the moon. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. I hope you enjoyed it, because I enjoyed doing it. It was an eye-opener. I learned so much.
Oh, it's a fascinating story. Fascinating. If you ever get stranded on an island, we know what to know where the lunar eclipse is, I guess.
Well, I didn't know about any Jewish history here for Jamaica.
Yeah.
I mean, that I found most interesting. Any Jewish pirates, especially. You know, it makes me want to go and visit these places where we know there were lots of pirates and have a route around. I don't know if that's possible. Probably most of them are downtown in places that we might not want to go these days, but I'll have an investigation. It's given me something to look into.
Jan, I think it would be fascinating to go to those cemeteries and see what the last names are.
Yes, yeah,
The,
especially knowing that people are doing this once a year, that there is a group that go to these places and honour. They're having these meetings on the Jewish pirates, and I just didn't know that all this was happening here.
Well, there's a whole history about Spain and Judah and Christopher Columbus, too.
Was Christopher Columbus Jewish?
I'm not very good with history, but you'll have to research it a little bit more. I think there was persecution of the Jews, and the Queen was commissioning Christopher Columbus to go find new land. I don't know. I'm totally not.
Yeah, that was King Ferdinand. They kicked the Jews out
Queen Isabella.
with the Jewish expulsion. It was
Yeah, that's right.
So that must be where the pirates were coming into the story.
And I think Christopher Columbus was a map maker.
I do have something that gave the name of his sort of astronomer book person that did the discoveries of, like, the almanac, the sailor's almanac, if you like. I don't know what you would call it, you know, what the sailors use to plot the stars and know which courses and directions to go in. When we went to Venice a long time ago, in about 2007, when we were going around there, of course, that was all to do with the Silk Road, and they had these wonderful sort of maps and big globes and things. And I always used to think, how do they know what the outline of all the countries look like unless you're above it? If you're in a ship and you can see the coastline, I would have trouble drawing the outline of any country from sailing around it, because it would all look pretty much the same. You'd have to be above it, surely. Well, that's just my thinking anyway, that they were so clever. What they did know and how to plot things and looking at the constellations and things, it's just amazing to me how anyone ever left a country and found land anywhere else, really. But there you go, Yahuwah's put people on the earth at certain times with that knowledge.
And looking this up on Google, it's controversial whether he was Jewish or not, but it's a possibility that he was Jewish and that he was taking the exiled Jews to a new land.
Yes, yep, that's what I've heard.
It was like an exodus. It's another exodus, another cycle of the same kind of thing, taking them to a new land. That's what I've read before.
Maybe that's why Yahuwah preserved here when he was facing starvation with the blood moon and his knowledge of the blood moon.
Yeah, just wonder how he knew that an eclipse was going to happen. So profound, the knowledge.
Yeah, it's all written in the stars.
Zacuto, Astronomical Legacies. On December the 5th, 1496, King Manuel I of Portugal followed Spain's lead and signed a decree ordering that Jewish people convert to Christianity or leave. And once again, after publishing invaluable work and being in service to the royal crown in Portugal, Zacuto was sent into exile. Zacuto left Portugal in 1497, but did not arrive in his next destination, Tunisia, until 1504. Now, that's the same year as the eclipse happened over in the Caribbean, following a path shared by many other Jews and Muslims exiled from the Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain. Once in Tunisia, Zacuto composed no further major astronomical works, only a few astronomical treatises. His last major work was Sefer Yohasan, the Book of Genealogies, where his focus shifted from navigation of the stars to the Jewish luminaries of his own past.
That's fascinating.
So Zacuto also wrote in Spanish a brief treatise to the influence of heaven, Tratado Breve de la Influencias del Cielo, as well as a treatise on solar and lunar eclipses, titled Della Eclipses del Soli della Luna. I do apologise to anybody in Spanish. In charting the positions of these astronomical entities in an easy-to-read manner, Zacutu allowed navigators to calculate their distance from the equator, as well as to set and to maintain their latitude on the open seas. So I don't know if that helps.
That's fascinating. Makes you want to go research it.
Interesting story, June.
Yeah.
It's just amazing that you guys come up on these terms and ideas and stories and history. So profound what gets brought forth.
They fall into our laps, don't they, Terry?
They are not of us.
No.
Yeah.
Like when you're reading scripture, something will like, it's like a highlighter comes out and just highlights it. And that's what you're to search. That's what we want you to search. It's pretty rare to search for your access term and not find it. It may take half a day to search for it in Peshitta or Tanakh, Torah, whatever, but it's pretty rare to not find that access term. If it's given to you, it's there.
Yeah.
Most
If
likely.
you get the feeling like that'll be, I bet that's a good code, you know you're going to find it. You
It's
just,
very, very rare not to get your access term.
it's from above, it's not from us. We can't really.
No, it's not possible.
Amen.
May this video enrich your love in and understanding of our Abba Yahuwah and His Word. Much has been hidden. Together let's seek the restoration of all truth. A Light Unto the Gentiles channel invites you to join the Hebrew Restoration and Code Searching team. Please email us at alightuntothe@gmail.com to let us know of your interest. Looking for fellowship? We invite you to join our Facebook group, Code Searching Hebrews. Love, truth, and revelation are vital in these last days. The Hebrew Restoration and Code Searching Ministries, through A Light Unto the Gentiles, serves Yahuwah and the sheep from our Father's pasture. Please prayerfully consider a monthly donation to Restoration Farms Incorporated. Links are provided for you below in the description.